A very warm welcome, good evening to Amchi Mumbai for SAP India's Global Bharat Movement presented by SAP India in association with TV9 Network in partnership with Microsoft Azure. A big round of applause for Amchi Mumbai. Let's first understand this, and then so that we understand what's going to happen. We have an exciting lineup of panelists. Interesting people, varied people waiting to talk to you. And we also have a lot of people from SAP India waiting to tell you all about what SAP India has in store for all of you over here. So please buckle up. In this program, SAP India offered everything from technical support to mentorship to expertise to all kinds of support for mid-market companies to help them with their digital transformation journeys. Because let's face it, during the pandemic was when the process got accelerated. Every company, every individual wanted to digitize their lives as much as they could. We all knew that there was no other way to go. There's no time to wait anymore. The pandemic just rushed up that process. And during that time, and many companies painstakingly began their digital transformation journeys. That's why SAP India was there with them with the Global Bharat Movement, with these business innovation roadshows, where we are covering the length and the breadth of the country, across all kinds of cities, big and small. Why don't you have a quick look at this highlights package, if I may, of our journey so far.
India is projecting a more self-assured version of itself to the world than ever before. Paving the way to this bulletproof economy are our homegrown businesses. Taking our growth story beyond key business hubs of India to emerging industry clusters across Bharat. As key industry clusters fire the growth engine of a new India, SAP India, in association with TV9 Network, celebrates India's holistic techno-economic growth. Welcome to Global Bharat Movement, a traveling roadshow that brings together eminent business leaders, tech visionaries, and practitioners across diverse sectors. The Global Bharat Movement 2.0 kicked off in style at a gala function in Bengaluru on 24th March. Chief Architect of Aadhaar, Dr. Pramod Verma, set the tech-led development narrative, talking about key pillars of Digital India.
India now runs world's largest direct benefit transfer program, DBT. 860 million people, 86 crore people have bank account attached to their Aadhaar.
In 5 weeks, the roadshow has travelled to 7 cities in the south. The South leg culminated with a thought-provoking keynote by Dr. Raj Gopal from IIT Madras Incubation Cell. The roadshows received an overwhelming response from participants.
2 months implementation, all credits to the team which came along with that. Their knowledge, in fact, it's what that helped. And it's a very good planned, like we planned months before itself, before we start all the operations, and great support from SAP also with respect to that.
From any technology point of view, the ease at which you can extract something is what drives innovation. And similar with SAP, I'm sure, as the gentleman pointed out, 4 weeks of implementation compared to, say, months earlier is the time.
And now, the stage is set for Global Bharat Movement, creating waves across the rest of India.
So let me begin by inviting somebody from SAP India to talk about the future state of mid-market and India's economic leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Rahul Bave, Regional Sales Director, SAP India.
How many of you here are already SAP existing customers? How many of you already use SAP? Wonderful, all of you. How many of you here are married for more than 10 years? Okay, so that's even better. So this is one place where you love or you understand innovation very well. I am married for almost 20 years now. And after a few years, it's the same thing over and over and over again, right? So how do you keep the love on? How do you keep the excitement on? You have to innovate. You have to transform. You find in India, almost 8 out of 10 cars on the Indian roads are built by customers we serve. Okay? Look at all the telecom companies in India. They're all the subscribers who use those services, those companies run SAP. Okay? Look at anything. Look at the dairy revolution that happened. Look at the way the airports are expanding today. It's a very complex network, right? And we have the opportunity to serve all those customers over there. We started almost 25 years back. By 2010, we already were there present with most of the large customers in India. Unfortunately, at that time, we were all perceived like an enterprise company which only works with some of the large organizations. But we had covered the large organizations, and they were growing very fast at that time. So though we had on-premise solutions, a lot of the innovations were there, and these customers were using it. The good part is most of these customers today are multinationals, have become giants in the industry. So whether it's the Tata Group, whether it's Reliance, whether it's Adani, whether it's Aditya Birla, you name the company, right? But having done that, in just a decade after that, we actually innovated again. We brought in HANA, we brought in Rise to Cloud, we brought in multiple other solutions. What we bring to the table in this whole cloud journey to make it very simple for our customers to consume, minimum IT investment. We take care of the IT, the technology, the risks, the security, compliance, everything. Most importantly, we deliver perpetual upgrades, which means you're always on the latest versions. You always have access to the innovations that we're bringing continuously. And most recent things that have happened, the generative AI, the open networks, what this means is SAP used to bring all departments together. Okay? So you don't need to now go and actually, you can just go to a search screen and say that I want analysis for the last 5 years from this particular, say, company code or anything. And that thing will get thrown up through the analysis tools. You don't have to go select, look at pivots. Even pivots will get generated on their own. So those are the kind of innovations we are bringing. Why? Because innovation is absolutely necessary for survival. We've said this right from the start. We keep saying them. And finally, this last point, everybody knows, data is king. How do you consume data? How do you monetize data? Will decide everything. To do these or to address these challenges, there are a lot of priorities every company have today. We as SAP have ensured that within the application that we are talking, whether it's RISE, PC, or whether we are talking public cloud, we have addressed all these strategic priorities in the application. We are saying whether you're an SME, whether you're an MSME, whether you're mid-market, whether you're large enterprise, we are here with all the imperatives, with the solutions required for today's challenges, and we urge you to grow with SAP. From here on, I'm going to invite Akshay to take you through Grow with SAP and help you understand it better. Thank you so much.
We at SAP have brought in this concept of Grow with SAP, where we will support all types of organizations, whether you are an organization that is moving from 0 to 1, 1 to 10, or 10 to 100, our platform and our business solution offering, which is Grow with SAP, will support you through it. Right? Now, Grow with SAP is a business solution offering that we have, which has our core ERP underlying it or powering it. It's our flagship solution called SAP S/4HANA Cloud. And there are 4 primary pillars on which this offering is given to our customers. The first one is running with industry best practices. The second one is building your own breakthroughs. The third one is growing limitless, expanding in multiple geographies, getting into newer business models, etc. And then the last one, and perhaps the most critical one, is going live with confidence. Right? So the first one where it talks about running on industry best practices. So SAP has been in this particular space for more than 5 decades. In fact, just last year, we celebrated 50 years of our existence. Right? So there's a lot that we have learned from multiple industries. So we spread our business offerings across 26 different industries. What we have done is we have condensed all of our learnings and we ship it as best practices to all of our customers. As an organization, you can simply select the most relevant business practices and then start configuring them within your own environment or within your own instance, right? And this is where we have an entire SAP Best Practices Explorer, where you can go ahead and download all of these best practices, have a look at the process flows, have a look at the test scripts, and readily start deploying all of these solutions for your organization. So today we live in an era of Netflix and Amazons of the world, right? Wherein no one really taught us how to use these applications. We simply downloaded them from the app stores, logged in, played around a bit, and eventually got a hang of how to post an update, how to create our profiles, how to order stuff, right? The same design principles have gone into building SAP as well. So this is how the new age SAP looks like, right? A completely revamped user experience. Forget the days of transaction codes. There is no need to remember any transaction codes. In fact, today using natural language processing, you can simply search for whatever activities you want in this top search bar. And the solution will throw all of those insights for you. So on the SAP Start mobile application, you can get all of your notifications. So any type of notifications, etc., that you would be having, they would come up on your mobile devices. You can approve it, reject it. You can get into multiple details associated with all of those tasks, all on the go and on your mobile devices itself. So this is how on your mobile device, you can get all of the notifications that you would be required to keep a track of. We understand that our SME organizations love to go without any limits, right? We have organizations that are changing their business models almost every day. And how can technology stay behind? So we intend to build a solution that helps you to adapt to these changing business dynamics and changing business models as well. With SAP, we've got something called a solution order, which essentially encapsulates all of these different types of business models that an organization would want to work with, and we ship it out of the box along with the solution. We also know that our Indian organizations are now truly going global, right? We are expanding our footprint across the entire globe. And to support that, our solution is localized to over 51 different geographies globally and over 32 different languages as well. So wherever you want to grow within the entire world, SAP solutions would be localized for you as well. So gone are those days when an SAP implementation project would take a year and a half, 2 years, right? Today, we are talking about weeks worth of implementation timelines. And all of this is possible because of two key factors. One, the best practices that we deliver from the solution, so it becomes really easy for you to adapt to the industry standards. And second, the wealth of knowledge that a partner ecosystem really brings in, right? And they follow something called as the SAP Activate methodology, which is a tried and tested way of implementing SAP solutions. And using a combination of both of these, we are seeing dramatic go-live timelines, right? I would like to sum up my presentation on Go with SAP, and I would just want to leave you behind with this one thought of an American author, which says that what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, a master calls it a butterfly, right? What it essentially means is every day, we as individuals and we as organizations want to grow, want to push ourselves beyond the limits, right? Today, you might be selling products. Tomorrow, you might want to lease, you might want to get into services, you might want to do subscriptions, etc., right? And as we push these boundaries, there are certain fears that we have, right? Both as an individual and as an organization. What we at SAP endeavor to do is we help you to address those challenges, address those fears, and we help you to break out of the chrysalis and soar like a butterfly. Thank you so much.
We have to move on right now because we have a very special guest keynote address on strengthening the state of Maharashtra's economy with MSMEs and technology. And to do that, may I please invite Mr. Anand Madia, Officer on Special Duty to Chief Minister, Government of Maharashtra. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Mr. Anand Madia.
Today, what far and large we have been seeing is that technological interventions are being adopted, are being, adhered to by either the startups or the big guys or the big industries. But today, with people like SAP, people like other people, you have SaaS as a service available. There is so much that can happen where MSMEs can utilize the strength of technology at the fullest. Using technological interventions or platforms, it's not only logistics or billing. It can be design. It can be development of a product. Gone are the days when we used to work in a format where ये दुकान है, ये ऑफिस है, जितना है उतना ही है. अब आपको एक्सपांड करने के बिना ऑप्शन भी नहीं है. आज सारी दुनिया अपने तौर ही देख रही है. Manufacturing capital of the world or not, I don't know, but service capital of the world for sure. The median age of an Indian youth today is 27. Look at the power that India has. Look at the power that Bharat has. Utilizing these things, if we can make our service industry, our basic industry that supports the large industries grow, it is phenomenal. No? All of you will have so much work that nobody will have a time to do anything else. Technological interventions are the best things for you. Sitting there, you have access to everything from reporting, from, as I said, design, or any kind of orientation that you want can be done. How can you utilize that is the best thing to do. What I suggest is that very soon, Government of Maharashtra is also trying to come up with a proper policy for MSMEs, where Government of Maharashtra will come up with interventions in the sense of come up with a few things saying that these services or these applications or these portals are available for you to use. Because without MSME, there is no industry. Large industry is one thing, but small industry or MSMEs are basic backbone of our economy. How can you grow? Tell us what intervention you need from us. We are willing to help you into all that. What is it that you want? We can assist you. But the onus of using technology, the onus of upgrading your own self and your business comes upon to you. I don't need to talk more on technology because everyone understands technology. The core nitty-gritties of that everyone understands. It's just how you can utilize it to the maximum. One point which I try and reiterate at every place is that how can we utilize the power of vernacular language and the power of audio to communicate with the people at the rural most segment. There will be some MSMEs here which don't supply to industries but which do business directly to the consumers. Today, the rural India is growing, rural Maharashtra is growing. Yes, you have certain areas where still things are challenged, but we are ensuring that they will also grow. So how can you intervene there? How can you support them? That is what needs to be understood. Thank you very much.
So frank and so honest. I'm going to request Mr. Rajiv Singh of SAP to please present our keynote speaker with a bouquet. Our next session is on tech innovation and entrepreneurship for India's self-reliance. I'm going to invite Mr. Shaji Varghese, Deputy CEO, Sign IIT Bombay, to please take the stage.
And my experience with SAP has been really good because we used to insist that our portfolio companies actually implement digital technology to actually improve their productivity. And our fund was basically an SME focused fund called BTS India Private Equity Fund. So we have invested it across, we used to invest across SME companies across different manufacturing sector. And few of our portfolio companies, the size of those companies at that point of time, it was like 2007, the size of those companies were like 50, 60 crore, first generation entrepreneurs. And when we talk to them, now you have to implement ERP solution, the first question they would say, cost. Cost is so high. We don't want to touch it. We can use a local solution. We have to put our foot down and say that, no, you have to use a solution which is validated in the market, which is accepted by the market. With this as a background, currently I am Deputy CEO of SIGN. SIGN stands for Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We are technology business incubator at IIT Bombay. So what we do is we always talk about innovation, innovation, innovation. We look at startups, we look at companies which can actually bring innovative solutions or services to the market, and we support that by providing incubation support and services. Innovation is very, very close. As I said, innovation is very close to my heart. And the topic of today that I have taken is that, can India become a global innovation hub? So why do we need innovation, right? I mean, what is innovation? I mean, everybody will be we all will be satisfied with what we have been doing, right? I mean, why do we talk about innovation, whether it is an incremental innovation or getting something new to the market? It's a challenge, right? You can't say that I don't innovate, I can't innovate, because the market is moving, the market is changing, market is bringing, your competitors are bringing in new technology. So if you don't improve your productivity or you don't understand your market, then it will be difficult for you to survive. And I've been an experience that when we used to speak with a lot of SME companies, they always want to talking about in terms of competing on cost basis. which I found it to be little very kind of negative aspect, because you need to compete on quality. You should go to the global market, or you need to go to the Indian market and say, look, I am delivering a top class product to you. And you should demand that pricing. This should be the way to be thinking. Because of that, our share of manufacturing is very low, because most of the companies say that I want to give the lowest price. When you say the lowest price, either your productivity has to be significantly high to actually compensate, right, for that low price that you're giving. But unfortunately, we are not. According to the Global Innovation Index, India is at 40th place, but still we have been improving over the last 3-4 years. And what are the kind of reasons for that improvement is, one is because of we have very strong ICT industry, largest exporter. And second is that from a financial point of view, financial support point of view, a lot of capital has gone into startups, and venture capital fund had gone into startups. So these are the two, and that there has been a productivity increase, which is largely because companies have started implementing technology in a very proactive manner. One area that we are kind of are closer to the market leader is the market sophistication. Why? Because we are the largest market in the consumer market. I mean, probably second or third largest in terms of the size of the market, the number of consumers, all right? And we have been able to purchase the high quality products from the global market. So the difference between India and the developed market is low. But in all other parameters, there is a huge difference. So we need to kind of put a lot of effort in that. Can we do it? Yes. Look at Aadhaar, look at UPI. These are solutions that are built for the global market. Any country can deploy it at any point of time, right? Look at the Indian space, right? We have been facing embargo for a long period of time. And then the most important thing is that the presence of global R&D hub that has been set up across India, largely in Bangalore and Delhi, Pune. I think even SAP does have its global kind of R&D center in India. That itself gives a kind of an attracts or you indirectly develop a huge pool of well-trained and technical resources that are actually look at the global market rather than just an Indian market kind of a thing. If a large organization has to kind of embark on these innovative activity, for them the allocation of resources is going to be very expensive. But look at if a company has scaled up, right? If a startup has scaled up and kind of an enterprise can really acquire it and grow it multifold, right? Yeah, that's from my side.
And now we move further, because it's time now for a session called Future Proof Businesses of the Future with Technology, a CXO's perspective. And we have a couple of very exciting people joining me on the stage as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Tushar Agnihotri, Country Head, Route Mobile. And we also have Mr. Ragesh Mehta, CFO of Noble Hygiene, joining us. Mr. Ragesh Mehta, thank you so much for being with us. We're talking about technology, and how technology impacts our lives, our companies, is a common discussion that we have all the time. But right now, one common discussion about technology is there for all of us, across the board, and that is artificial intelligence. You have to admit that ChatGPT, GPT-4, artificial intelligence for life, artificial intelligence for companies is what the discussion is all about. Is it overhyped? Some people say it's all too much talk, too much hyping. When some people say it's no, you're talking about something very important for the future. Tushar, if I were to ask you, in this contentious debate, these days every debate is contentious, on artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, GPT-4, Ben?
We've developed, using this intelligence, which is of course artificial. So, and sort of created a platform which is, which is deployed with now all the telecom operators, and every message which passes through the SMS. The SMS is basically a equipment through which SMS have to necessarily pass before it lands into your handset. So every message is getting sort of, screened, Have we eliminated it completely? No, we've not. We're still building more intelligence around it. So AI, one, is an ongoing process. It's a journey. You can actually have, a small company which can't, of course, afford to set up their own detailed call center, can simply, publish a number which defines the identity of the brand and start interacting through WhatsApp. A while back we saw, an AI tool which was developed by a company, which sort of gives you capabilities to address any of the issues a customer you may believe will face in future. Of course, this talks to your CRM, your internal systems, and able to fetch data information which a client may need to have his issues or concerns addressed effectively. So this is, how AI actually is beneficial. So what do we need to do? We actually have to start building the skills around AI. On ChatGPT, well, it's a challenge we'll have to live with.
Now talk to us. There's already fears that it's going to take away jobs. I come from the media profession where journalists are already fretting about how many jobs are going to be taken, and it's not just my profession. So many professions. It talks of automation taking away jobs, but then that debate always goes on. But I want to understand, when you talk about the next tech panacea, artificial intelligence clearly is it, isn't it?
We have used one of the AI tool, which is actually useful for our sales team, RSM, because he must be having a particular 4-5 states which is going there, and if he's visiting a particular market, when he's supposed to go into a particular market and he knows the sales executive and he knows the ASM, we have used a tool where he speaks about his ASM names, he gets the entire performance detail so at least when he's in the car, he's getting this information. So there at places, it helps him to take a corrective action what is not happening in the market. So there, it's definitely is helping us in terms of AI.
Artificial intelligence being used in your own company, how much of, talk to us about, the tech involved in your own company and how you approach digitization and going and adopting the latest technology.
Look, our platform, I come from this company called Root Mobile, actually is built around AI. Most of the solutions we offer is around built around AI. So anything when you actually are accessing a chatbot or a chatbot through a WhatsApp, or you have our voice platforms, NLP is used there. So practically everything is around that. So we basically enable businesses to create a communication layer over their CRMs, over their systems, and reach out to end customers. And just not reach out, respond to them, discuss with, if they have challenges, speak to them. All possibilities,
You're talking about digitization that's happening at a very rapid pace. Everybody is concerned about, if I adopt a particular technology today and make my ERP on the basis of something today, how soon will the world change is something that's not in your hands. But talk to us about the challenges of digitization in a constantly changing world of technology.
When we implemented SAP, we thought you cannot think about today. You have to see next 5 years where your company is going to be there and which kind of a problem you see today. And accordingly you go and implement the system. So, and then step by step, because once you put the system, then you have to see which all thing you can make more automated. So like the example, what we have done in our system, we have a CRM, we have a SFA, we have started integrating this into the SAP. So at least all data is available online, which helps the entire team to grow together and then keeps on adding whenever any further enhancement is required. We have, in this existing company, from B1 we moved to SAP Rise with SAP.
Right.
So that amendments are already available. So it's only you have to just go and change it to that system.
If I were to ask you, how much of your company's data is in the cloud?
Everything is in cloud. So we are a CPaaS company that starts with cloud, So we've been serving our customers from cloud. Of course, there's still some sector, namely telecom and banking, which are still testing waters. They've not completely, still aligned. They are looking at either private cloud, but they are testing the idea of going on cloud. But yes, we are completely in cloud, and we encourage people to use cloud.
If somebody asks you something, give them a dashboard with real-time data, and they'll be extremely happy with it. Tushar and Ragesh, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Tushar and Ragesh. Now we have a huge panel.
I'll start with Vivek, you there.
Yeah.
So Vivek, digital transformation as a jargon has been in the industry for a very long time. And each time you hear this, you realize that you're already on a path. Okay. Now my question here is, how do you see these trends that these digital transformations are moving in a successful pattern? What are the key factors that you assimilate and then go on to the next part of the journey?
We as the organization very well know what is that difference we are going to make for the customer. and what are our key differentiators we are going to develop for our own business. So these are the two parameters which I will say. When we talk about any digital transformation towards the internal facing organization, they are either our employees or they are our business, say manufacturing plants, so on and so forth. So we also need to see what is the difference we can make in their lives, and ultimately what is the difference they are going to make for the customers in turn. So ultimately, customer is always at the center, and we all incidentally exist around the customer. So if those objectives are met, then I will definitely say that we are doing something good in the digital transformation.
Savi, how do you see it? I'm sure, since I know you and the organization, but how do you continuously do these innovations within Parksons?
What we follow in the organization as our management is something called AIM. AIM means all ideas matter. And typically, innovations can come from the lowest quarter in the shop floor. And there will be small ideas which, some factory remotely at Guwahati, somebody, the worker has come out with some idea. And so we try to get that idea up. It's easier said than done. So there has to be a process to follow that. So that is a bottom-up approach. We have a separate innovation team which we have created. And packaging, for example, is a very rapidly growing kind of industry. In terms of latest technologies keep on coming. So our management is also focused towards getting the best and bringing those technology to India in terms of innovative packaging, etc.
You may want to give a brief introduction about Green Cell as well, and then come to the digital transformation part of it, and how do you plan to do your continuous innovation program?
For us, it is customer experience, which is our prime focus in innovation, then or starting with safety, then customer experience. In innovation, we have done, like, we have vehicle technology and we have information technology here, right? So we do innovation on both sides. So when we make the buses, we innovate the things where we have these kind of, let's say, devices in our buses which can monitor the drivers and things like that, the ADAS devices which we have, and to make sure that the driver is not dozing off or things like that. Then in innovation, what we have done is also we have created geofences around the route. So what we do is basically before we start a route, what we do is our ESG team actually goes around the route and finds all the hazardous things which are actually not marked. Now we are going with predictive analytics, where what we will do is we will actually the maintenance part will be done by the predictive analytics rather than going to the depot and checking everything.
Correct.
So we will be basically digitalizing that thing. Now it's the evolution part of vehicles where we need to lose the tail, which we call the emissions tail, which is our exhaust, right? So that's why we say that we will evolve to a kind of tailless vehicle, without exhaust.
So Vivek, and how do you see your journey with SAP on this innovation there?
We have interest in the metallurgical industry. We are in the oil and gas. We do a lot of instrumentation, and we have a small business in the information technology as well. So basically, the group almost 60 years old, and the basic value which we say that touching lives positively. And another thing is the value through technology. These are the two principles actually on which we work. We already talked about the customer centricity, which is one of the values. So we saw that the current platform, whatever it's being used, it was having a lot of limitations. And then I started attending a lot of business strategy meetings to understand what exactly they want. Then we came out with a solution and I spent almost my entire career, on the SAP platform, more than 25 years. Then I said that SAP is the really, best solution for us in order to create that basic hygiene, which is a kind of platform for growth. And from there, whatever new, platforms SAP has further added, like the cloud integration platform, where we can seamlessly integrate with the Salesforce, which the CRM which we are using, our HRMS, then the analytical platforms which we want to create, and the whole complete, IT ecosystem which we want to create. We built the complete IT strategy around it. And actually, I conducted multiple workshops with our CEOs, all the CEOs. And then we actually went through all these exercises, what exactly we want to do, and how IT strategy can, kind of, align with all these things.
Sabi, your view on a few more things that you are doing in Parkinson's at this point of time.
So the scale at which we grow, 25 years, 6 factories, and in the span of 2 years, we have 13 factories. It's exponential growth. And to have that, to manage that growth, at the same time, it has to be a profitable growth.
Yes.
Right? It's just not a top line. So IT plays a big role. And so there, I think we went to offsite and we kind of brainstormed along with business and IT, and we came out with a 5 years kind of a roadmap. And our IT strategy is derived out of that roadmap, So in terms of how we can support in terms of the scale. So all those interventions, so IT can play a big role. Supply chain resilience for a manufacturing company is very good. So how supply chain, how can augment our SAP to have a better supply chain resilience in our company. So all those interventions, all those strategy in various areas are driven from the business strategy that we kind of want to go in the next 5 years.
Generative AI, and you want to talk about more about how Microsoft and SAP are working together in bringing AI into the enterprise and touching the people in the enterprise?
Sure. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And Krishnan actually took away half of my thunder. So thanks Krishnan for doing that. And let me just address the other half part. Firstly, on the partnership, yes, the SAP Microsoft partnership is about 25 years plus old. And the objective of this whole partnership is together, how can we really add more value, and how can we empower every organization and every individual on this planet to do better. At Microsoft, you've all heard about the ChatGPT and the generative AI that's been embedded not only in our solutions, but we are also wanting to do it in all our partner solutions. The success factor is a very, very prominent announcement that we just came up a few days back, which essentially is going to address two parts of the HR side of the story, which is primarily the first one is recruitment. The talent gap usually comes up when you're not able to define the job description correctly. And that's where we're going to bring in our open generative AI into SuccessFactor, which will help you create an accurate job description for the talent that you're looking for. What it will also do is, it's also got a component for the interviewer to help you generate questions based on the resume that you are interviewing on. So that's the second part that's going to be embedded with the SuccessFactor. But what's very important is we're also going to come up, we as an organization, you'll also hear another big announcement from Microsoft, which is going to be the Copilot, the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is going to be announced shortly, which is currently under the paid preview for our customers. But it's going to change the way our entire operations or the way we do our work in our offices, no matter what position or what role we are all playing in. PowerPoint, it'll help you create PowerPoint presentations based on the documents that you're going to give it as an input. Let's say if you have a proposal and want to convert it into a PowerPoint, you no longer have to spend in hours of work on it. Just give it the document, it's going to give you the presentations with the images, with the diagrams, graphs, whatever you want. Excel, you don't have to do the pivots and the drop downs and so on and so forth going forth. So all you're supposed to do is natural language processing. Ask it what you want. Sales by individual, by territory, by region, by year, whatever. It's going to give you the outputs based on that. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to really improve and try and increase the productivity of every individual in the organization. What we're doing with SAP is, we all know Microsoft Teams is kind of an extension of SAP. You can actually query SAP from Microsoft Team. You can seek reports and inputs from Microsoft Team to SAP. What we are also going to do going forth is, let's say on Teams, let's say we all are having few people having meetings. So the M365 Copilot is going to bring in a lot of intelligence to help us at the end of the meeting. Copilot is going to tell which individual is supposed to do what action out of the meeting. Minutes of meeting ready. And lastly, and very important part, during the meeting, it's going to help you scan all the documents in your computer, all the emails, all the contacts, and bring up a very contextual information relevant to the meeting and the topic that we are discussing in. That's a very, very powerful a tool that's going to come handy. And furthermore, link it to SAP, and you'll also have data from SAP which is going to be relevant for the meeting. Can you beat this the strength of productivity that we're going to bring along with this new co-pilot that's going to come up? So net, I think we as an organization, thank you. We as an organization, there are a lot of similarities between what SAP and what Microsoft does.
Thank you again for being with us here. And just to summarize, thank you for sharing how you believe that the CIO organization in an enterprise is restructuring the strategy for the enterprise.
Up next is the significance of intelligent spend management in the contemporary business world. Spending is important. Intelligent spend management is even more important. And for that, I'm going to invite Nikhil Kamath, Direct Sales, Intelligent Spend Business Network, SAP India. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Mr. Nikhil Kamath.
Now, the first intelligence which spend gives you tells you whether your country is growing or not growing, right? It will tell you whether your country is growing over a larger period, or there is a growth seen over a period, or it's contracting. Now, how does that is seen? Let's move to the next slide. Yeah, and this is the PMI index, right? The manufacturing and goods, basically goods and services manufacturing index. PMI is nothing but the purchase managers index. Now, if you see, the purchase manager index over a period has been above 50. Now, other part of the spend is, if I'm looking at sales revenues and many other things, yeah, inflation is there. So do I every time pass on this to my consumer or my customer, or is it because there is so much of competition, right? What is the other way to handle this? What is the other way to ensure I may not pass on that, but still get benefited? Now let's look at the next slide, and this is a typical financial statement, right? Now what you can see highlighted in the red is the entire COGS part, cost of goods sold, right? Now this is where you have the raw materials and you have the indirect items. Now if you see this is your overall report in terms of earning per share, market value per share. Now if I just reduce my raw material spend costing by 1%, of course there are various strategies to do that, and my indirect by minimum 3%, right? What would happen to the overall picture? Let's move to the next and see. It is giving that benefit in terms of, even if your revenue was there, that percentage is impacting your gross profit, right? The profitability is becoming better, and that's increasing your EPS as well as your market value per share. Now, for this to happen, it's of course very important that the systems and efficient systems are to be in place. The solutions should be in place a technology solution should be in place to drive it. So this is the vendor risk dashboard, right? Nowadays, we all spoke about sustainability, we spoke about many things, but end of the day, vendor is the critical starting point for any business. Now, when I capture my vendor information, yeah, I share them a questionnaire and they respond back, and then I accept whatever they say based on whatever data they have provided. But can I have a third-party view in terms of how that vendor risk is? And especially I want to do it for my critical supplier from a supply chain perspective, right? Now, can I do this, right? And this is an example of how I can have the vendor risk classified in terms of different categories, be it regulatory and legal, environment, social, financial, and operational. If I scroll down, I also know where these vendors are located and which areas, right? So if you can, zoom it, I know what category of risk it is and where are these vendors located. I can then go into each of these and pull them up. Now, this is one insight which is giving me an input primarily for taking decisions in terms of my vendor criticality. Now, if I scroll up a little bit, there is something called as an alert feed on the right side, right? Now, this is nothing but information about the vendor coming from the entire big internet, because my vendors may be global, may be local, wherever, but today we know that all news are posted on the internet. So can I know at any point of time, any news about my vendor posted on the internet, and can it come to me in real time so that I can take a proactive action on that, right? So that's another factor which becomes important from an insights perspective. Now let's say if I want to open my vendor information, we can go to Schneider Electric, for example, but I also want to look at the risk part of it, yeah? So if I click the risk part of it, this is one single 360-degree view of my vendor. right? When I want to look at my risk, I'm seeing this risk is medium across a period on what factors: regulatory, legal, environmental, social, operational, and financial. Now, who is giving me this data? Who is giving me this insight? There are third-party players who are giving me this insight. Now, if I want to look at, let's say, environmental and social, EcoVadis is one of the largest sustainability ratings provider. In fact, your company may also be assessed by EcoVadis as you work forward, right? So this is what is given. Now, if I want to know more details about this, I just go to the report and get more details about Schneider Electric. And this I can do across my critical supplier base. Now, here is where I will get a complete snapshot of my vendor base as well, in terms of what Schneider Electric does, what in terms of environment, labor, human rights, ethics, and many other things, right? I have a mobile app available as a vendor to do this. If small vendors are there, they may not log into a portal, they can do this entire processing on the mobile app itself, right? So no worries of data entry and all, you can process faster. As I said, if it has an input tax credit, we can even validate before it comes to you from the GST portal, which is the IRP portal, right? So that's the benefit of an efficient system. And we wanted to just cover this as part of it. Another area is the worker management, the skill sets management, right? And we knew during pandemic, the gig economy came in. Do I know how many workers I have, what skill sets they have? And this is something where I can capture my overall subcontractor or contingent workforce who was not part of my employee base. I can capture that information in terms of what skill sets they have, what is the total information about the hours which have been billed, and this can be through an agency, or I can even go and track the actual worker. And one last part I want to just cover is the tracking of logistics. If I'm doing a lot of exports and I want to do an ocean freight tracking, where is the vessel moved? Where is it right now? So that I avoid demurrages, or I can do a lot of dock scheduling and everything as a part of it, and I can do that also, right? We just wanted to give you a view of how intelligent spend or the entire spend management can be handled in a very seamless and efficient manner. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amandeep Kaur, and I'm from the Business Technology Platform Center of Excellence team. You think about it, if you be creative with how you want to solve your unique challenges of your organization, and BTP really is the answer to whatever Fit to standard cannot take care of according to your unique requirements. Landscapes, technology landscapes in your organizations need to be well integrated, right? Products and platforms need to talk to one another. And integration has been a very, very integral part of our SAP strategy. Mr. Christian Klein, who's our CEO, has innumerable times emphasized on the fact that integration is the backbone of any organization's success. So when we talk about integration, it could be SAP to SAP integrations. It could also be SAP to non-SAP integrations. It could be on-premise to cloud, cloud to cloud, and so on and so forth. We are talking about collating data from different data sources in your landscape. It could be SAP data, non-SAP data. We are talking about creating a data fabric architecture. And we are talking about reducing the redundancies so that no multiple replicable copies are made of that data, right? So this is a brand new solution out of the oven, announced just this quarter. The second piece was around integration. So the number that you see over here, this 3,000 plus pre-built integrations to accelerate your implementations. It could be iFlows, it could be integration packs. And if you're interested to know further as well, you can go into our API Business Hub. It's also called the Business Accelerator Hub. It's an open website where you can also explore what are some of the content elements which are available. Third piece, and very important, is when we've talked about grow so much, and we've talked about, Nikhil was talking about the entire procurement process and contingent workforce management process, right? How can we augment that further? What if you want to go one step further on that and maybe introduce a layer of, say, robotic process automation on top of that, right? So that also you can do with the help of the extended portfolio through the BTP platform, which you see over here, which talks directly to your ERP and has a lot of already established connections to your ERP and will help you in augmenting these different business processes. It could be the recruit to retire process, it could be source to pay process, lead to cash process, as well as our design to operate process. So what is SAP really doing about integrating that into our business context and our business processes, right? So this is an example where a S/4HANA Product Master is updated by simply clicking a picture of the product, and the GPT-4 identifies the specifications, understands the business context, translates that into the parameters that need to be input into the product master, and makes an entry for you, right? I know it can be a little intimidating for some people, but we have checks and authentications that can be put in place, right? So a quick example of how that works. So we can play this. So new products into the ERP, definitely a tedious task. So you don't need to do it. Let's let AI handle it. So let's see how build apps. This is an application which has been built on build apps. It can help you scan a GTIN, or it can also help you scan from a specification document, right, which comes with the product. So this is the application which is there. And now we will launch the application on an Android app. This is the interface. It has been completely designed by drag and drop. So we create the master. So there are two options which are available. First is you can create it from a product GTIN, or you can scan the specifications. So we'll use the first option first. We're going to scan the GTIN. And if you notice, the product had descriptions in a different language. So it could be multiple languages. You don't need to manually enter the translations when you're creating the master. So GPT creates the title, it translates it for you, identifies the best title and translations, and gives it to you for verifying, right? We're still having some intervention here. So once you verify, you can still make changes if you have. The best unit of measure is captured. The proposed product images are also captured, and it also gives you, looks and scans through the internet and finds out these additional descriptions and everything as well. Now, this is the product data proposal. So we've done that, and now we have the option on the top to create the product in the S/4HANA system, right? So all you've done is taken a picture. The system is doing the translations for you, giving you the recommendations, even suggesting you pictures, alternate pictures of the proposed product. And now we're good to create the product in the master, right? So this has been created. Now, let's very quickly have a look at the other example as well. Pretty impressive. So second one, create from a specification document. So there is a specification document that comes with the product. You scan that. Of course, it's in a different language. It's not in English. But we don't need to worry about that. So we can take multiple pictures, 1, 2, 3. As many pictures as we need, however many pages are there in the specification. So he's going to take just 2 pictures. And notice how this is now going to do its magic. The GPT-4 is going to do its magic. And it's now creating the specifications from the data that it has captured, right? So it's querying OpenAI. And if you notice, it has given you the product text, the length, width, height, of course, it's captured that, the weight of the product, very important for procurement purposes. And then it's creating a sales text. Again, so look at the languages which it is auto-populated over here. So you don't need to do it all manually. So this is done, and then it's also giving product pictures. Notice there was no picture on the specification document that you scanned. It's already picking up the pictures. You can select the ones that work best for you to put in the master. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and create the product in the master. So thank you so much, and have a good evening. We also want to make sure that your investments are safe, right? So how can you safeguard your investments into technology? For that, we have, from Cloud ALM, we have Umesh. He'll just take roughly about 4-5 minutes with you, but it's a very important topic.
From the start of the session, we have been hearing about transformation, intelligent enterprise, industry best practice, and the content, activate methodology. Vijay talked about dashboards. Our colleague talked about the integrations, BTP, right? SAP Cloud ALM is an application which is developed on top of the BTP as a platform. And the best kept secret, what I said, all the SAP Cloud ALM to the customers, SAP customers, with whether it's grow with SAP or rise with SAP, any contract that you have with SAP, you get it with no additional cost, which means we just don't give you the products, but also help you in the terms of implementation. We safeguard the implementation, accelerate the implementation, right? There are two things when you talk about the implementation. SAP Cloud ALM becomes your steering wheel for the intelligent, sustainable enterprise. When you think about the implementation, you have the design phase, you have build, you have test, and also the deployment. Right from the build or the design, when you do the fit to standard workshop, when you also have gather the requirements, from the requirements to the user stories, to the task, subtask, and everything, right? Also to move the transport request from your development tenant to the productive tenant, SAP Cloud ALM supports with no additional cost, right? Another important thing is that the customer clicks on the provisioning of SAP Cloud ALM, you'll get it in 15 minutes. You have your own productive SAP Cloud ALM in 15 minutes and you can start using it, right? And this is on the implementation and this is on the operations. In operations, we have various capabilities. The capabilities goes from business process monitoring to the integration monitoring. Of course, the integration becomes a topic where even if you are in a SaaS application, the entire integration lies with the customer, right? When we talk about the integration, whether it is Ariba to the S4HANA via your CIH, or it could be your CPI, right? Any integrations, on-premise to on-premise or on-premise to cloud, or even cloud-to-cloud integrations. So what you see here is basically the project management capability. You can do the entire project management using SAP Cloud ALM. We have the best practice content. And what do that we do with this content, right? So whenever you do the fit to standard workshop, you can actually create the requirements. This is where you create the requirements. And of course, yesterday I met a customer, they had thousands of requirements in their Excel, right? If they're using this tool, they can have entire requirement, not just that the requirement, you can also do the analytics, right? You have the requirement which is created and you have the feature, you have the user story, you have the task which is created. And the task, you have subtask, what exactly? You have the entire tracking. You don't need to have the Excel files or a dashboards or presentations to be made manually. Every day morning, you get to status of the project from the SAP Cloud ALM. Not just the static dashboard, this is all an interactive dashboard, which means if I click on this particular payment runs per company code, you will be able to see the exact document number from your S4HANA system in SAP Cloud ALM. Not just this, I can also get into a single level details of the message and also the evolution of the messages, right? Also with the single level message details, what exactly is the error? And I can trigger the IRPS scripts. There is a business process workflow management, also the autopilot. Everything is integrated here for the operations automations. Thank you.
Along with that, that's it from our side, actually. It's been a long evening. Thank you so much for all those who waited till the last moment. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Mumbai, Amchi Mumbai, for turning out in huge numbers. Please continue the conversation over dinner and drinks served outside. Thank you so much for coming.